Alright, let's see where we can qualify. I don't feel confident. When do I ever feel confident, to be fair? Awful. Awful first corner. God, there's bags of time to find. Just need to be able to do it consistently. So hello again and welcome back to another iRacing video where we're back on Oulton Park, which has historically been a good track for me. It was where I got my very first win in my very first race, and I've generally done quite well around here in these Mazda races before, but it's always been on the shorter version of the track, the Foster's Circuit as it's called. This is the first time that I was doing the international version, the bigger version of the track. So even though I knew sort of half of the track already, the other half was still completely new to me, and I had to get used to it, just like I'd done in the last few weeks where I was doing brand new tracks there as well. And again, I can only sort of get in the amount of time that I can do at the start of a stream before the race is underway, so maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes of being able to put some laps in and practice, which it might sound like a lot, but it actually isn't when you start getting into it and realizing what you need to do to put in the lap times, and kind of putting it all together is the biggest issue, I think, when you give yourself that little amount of time. It's really encouraging for me, I think, at this stage that I am able to sort of do that small amount of practice and be pretty much on the top pace almost straight away, or close to it. For example, my optimal at the end of this qualifying lap, which is the best sectors put together, was a 53.9, which is kind of the lap time that the very top guys were doing. But obviously with the lack of practice, it's about not being able to do that lap time consistently, or even put it together, put those best sectors together on one lap to be able to get that lap time as a whole. So yeah, it is encouraging in a way that I'm able to get these kind of lap times, but I always come into these races feeling a little bit underprepared. Nevertheless, I managed to pull out a good qualifying lap again, so I'll leave you to watch the start of the race, and then I'll come back when we're underway. Well, pulled it out of the bag for qualifying again. Half a second almost, but there's still so much time around there. Like, so much. I mean, I'm 11th in the split. I should finish bottom 2 in this, so any decent result is going to do well for me. I'll just take not being taken out, honestly. Yeah, just surviving is the most important part, especially since I can't really do that lap time consistently. Again, I've just pulled it out of the bag, but then again, there's a lot more time to find. I think I could do a 53 if I'd given myself enough time to practice. But it looks like we're starting second. Top 4 are all very close.
Green. Got 10 laps to go. Right side. Clear.
So a really good start to start us off. Obviously I really hooked up that second corner nicely, got the run out, pulled a gap on the guy in third, and obviously was much quicker than the guy in first and got into the lead early on. That was unexpected. Even qualifying in second was unexpected, as I was talking about during the qualifying lap. I wasn't really that confident, but when you do qualify in these positions, you kind of want to take advantage of it, and if you spot an opportunity like that, I'm always going to go for it, even if I'm not 100% confident that I'll be able to keep it or anything like that. I'm always going to try and go for those overtakes when it's possible like that, and you never know what might happen. So really good start to the lap, the first lap, and we're going to see the first lap in full. You might see in the rear view mirror here, second place, looks like he goes in a bit deep into the chicane, which we will see a replay of, and that gives me a little bit of breathing space at this point to be feeling a bit more confident going into the second chicane. And then I notice in the rear view mirror as we come around this section, you'll see second place actually make a big mistake and spin off into the grass. You might be able to see us to a small degree in the rear view mirror, but we will see a replay of it as well. And that really put me at ease a lot more. You can see I moved to the box in the bottom right to the standings instead of the relative, which is something I would like to do when I'm in front. Obviously relative, I've talked about this in previous videos, relative kind of gives you your exact time difference to everybody, and that can be good when you're battling in a pack or chasing people down to see where you're gaining and losing. But when I'm in the lead, I just don't want to look at that, and I want to have an updated lap and gap at the end of every lap and not have to look at it again, because it becomes too distracting for me. So yeah, first lap, at the end of it, as you can see from the standings, I was over 3 seconds in the lead, and I managed to pull that out from having a clean first lap. As we'll see from this replay what goes on behind, it's not, you know, major carnage between the first few, but there is certainly a lot of action behind that. So really there's sort of a group of 4 of us at the front. You can see a few crashes there, and there's more. We'll see some replays of that as well. But it's nice to sort of qualify well in these situations and be able to be in that group, because the gaps become so big so quickly when you know people behind are involved in a few crashes, that after a lap or two, even if you're in sort of top 3, top 4 positions, if you make a mistake or lose a few positions within that small group, you still got a good gap to everybody behind. And it was, you know, that third race on Tsukuba's circuit kind of highlighted that, where, you know, I got into the lead and then got taken out by getting hit up the back, but I was still able to finish 4th because the group of 4 of us that were racing had created such a gap to everybody else. So yeah, good first lap, and it really settled me down because there was battling going on behind for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and obviously second place makes the mistake in the chicane as we saw, and then we're going to see him make the mistake to sort of spin out. So there was essentially a battle over second place for the 2 guys who were left, and that was kind of how the race continued to go. People behind would drop off. I wasn't really focusing on any of this, you know, I was just trying to focus forward and do my laps, keeping an eye on the standings at the end of every lap to see how the gaps were either improving or decreasing. And I would notice that they were just increasing every lap, not only to 2nd and 3rd places, but to everybody else as well. And if you keep your eye on the standings box at the very end of the race, or even just the race results when I show them, there's huge gaps, and it's just from, you know, the guys further back in the pack, they must have been making mistakes or things like that. I think this track was a bit of a challenge for people, more so than some of the others that we've raced in before. And something that surprised me afterwards as well, which I didn't know at the time, was this is actually the 2nd split. So that's why I was ranked 11th, because, you know, there were much higher rated drivers than me in this. And basically what that means is, of all the, say, 150 to 200 people who were racing this race at this time, I was in the group with the 2nd highest rated group of 12. So, you know, one of my goals during this season was to hopefully get into that 1st split at some point, which I'm still hopeful to achieve. But to be able to race this well in that 2nd split, I think, you know, Oulton Park as a circuit, it must just really suit me, and I just really like how I can do around here. So we're seeing obviously a bit of a replay of the battle for 2nd here. The guy who was in 2nd makes a mistake there after getting overtaken and putting back down to 3rd. We're seeing some early crashes here that I was talking about. So this is where that sort of gap between the front 4 and everybody else presented itself. But even so, after that, people must have just been making mistakes all over the place, because there was some big gaps to everybody apart from the guy who was now in 2nd place, and he was my main competitor during the race. And it was close for the first few laps. So in the first couple of laps it was kind of trading lap times, I guess you could say. Sometimes he would be a little bit quicker, the next lap I would be a little bit quicker. I was looking at the standings, as I said, at the end of every lap. It kind of went from, you know, 3.5 seconds down to 3.3 seconds, and then back up to 3.6 seconds. And then I think lap 6 was my best lap of the race, and that kind of put an end to it because it went all the way up to like 3.9 seconds or something like that, the gap. And then every lap after that, even though they weren't that great from me, I was still increasing that gap. It kind of like he'd sort of lost the will to pursue. So then even the last few laps I was able to sort of calm down. I wasn't driving right to the very limits anymore. I even had a little bit of a wobble on laps 9 and 10 with some slower laps, but I was still increasing the gap to second place, and he ended up about 5 seconds behind with everybody else kind of miles away. And I would say that this is probably the high point of my entire iRacing career so far. It's amazing that, like I said earlier, it's encouraging to jump onto these brand new tracks that are, totally new to me, and at least half of the track was new to me this time, and be not too far away from the top split of drivers in terms of lap time. Obviously, I can't expect the consistency because I'm not putting in the laps, but that it's still encouraging to be able to be on that pace, and then to come into every single race not feeling comfortable because of that, and still bringing it all together towards the end and being able to put together a race like this where I'm not making major mistakes and I'm just able to, drive my own race and not, go off the track randomly of my own accord and things like that. I'm able to be quite consistent, and that's something that I'm encouraged by as well. And to be able to jump in with the 11th ranked driver in the second highest split, so that the second sort of from 13th to 24th rated drivers out of the hundreds that are doing this race, and be able to win like this, it's just, this is probably the high point, I think. Obviously we'll see some of the reaction at the very end as it happened, and we'll go through my iRating and safety rating like we normally do at the end of these videos, but this is, my best haul of points that I've ever gotten in the championship so far. It's the highest split that I've ever been in, like I said, in the second split, winning it as well, which is, that's the best I've ever done. And it's my highest iRating ever as well. I've never been higher than this. We'll obviously see it at the end what it is, but this is the high point. And actually by the end of this race, I was ranked in the top 100 of all the people that are doing this Mazda series. This is the championship that I'm doing. In that championship, I was ranked 94th out of over 21,000 people. It's just crazy. And I know that a lot of people just do one race, and it doesn't really matter overall. It's just I'm just learning my way as I go. But even if I drop out of the top 100 and I have some bad races from this point on, my iRating goes down and up again. I know that that's all going to happen probably, but this is just a moment that we're almost halfway through this first season. I'm just going to enjoy it and be proud of what I've done so far, and be looking forward to what can come in the future. So I'll enjoy this one, and I'll let you guys sort of watch the end of the race as it happened. And just a really great race, and I was really happy. And because this was I only get points in the championship for my best race anyway, I figured I'll just leave it at that, and I'll come back next week and do 2 races or whatever. But this was such a good race for my first race, to jump in and get the win in such a high split. I wasn't going to do another race after that. So thank you guys so much again for the support. I'm glad you're continuing to enjoy these iRacing videos. I certainly am still enjoying racing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do next time. Yes! Come on! Yes! Woohoo! First race, first win.
You deserve that. Well done.
One and done. Ranked 11th in the session. Takes the win. Even on my bad laps, I was still outpacing the guy in second. Oh my god. I love this track. This track has been very good to me. Whether it's been in the short version or the long version, this has been a very good track to me. I can't believe how that turned out. Like I was ready to settle into a sort of a chill, hoping just to keep my nose clean race, and that's exactly what I did. I just didn't expect it to be out in the lead. Like when he made that mistake on the first corner, the second corner just after it, I thought, oh, I'll take this, and then I was expecting to be under pressure, but then the gap just kept increasing and increasing and increasing. Alton Park, it treats me very well. That's amazing. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it was, of trying to get to grips with the track. And then come in at ranked 11th in the split, whatever split it was, and take the win. In and out and done. Wow. I'll have to look on the replays and see what happened. Because, I mean, even third place was miles behind, so there must have been a lot of crashing. It was only second place that had a sort of relatively clean race, it looked like. Unreal. I'm very happy. That's why I'm doing a cool down lap. I might as well maximize everything, maximize the SR. Can't believe it. I was not expecting a domination like that. 154. I said two 154.7s. When I was setting these 55s and 56s, I knew they weren't that good of laps, but the gap to second place was still increasing, so I was happy about it. Yeah, that was close. I knew I was like, I'd got the line a bit wrong, and I corrected for it just, I think, but oh god, yeah, that was close. And then did I mess up the second chicane as well, or was it just that one? I think this one I got a bit of a drift on. Yeah, I cut this too much, and I thought I was about to spin out like I did in the practice. Yeah, laps 9 and 10 weren't the best because I was kind of... Yeah, I was a little bit... I wanted to just get to the end. But yeah, I think it was lap 6, I agree, that broke second place. That's what won me the race, that 6th lap. And then I was able to sort of coast it to the end. Jesus, look at that change into the 16s! 93, that was in second split as well. I've never been in second split before, I don't think. No wonder I was ranked 11th. 93 iRating change. Plus 0.13 on the safety, because I wasn't really doing anything with anybody. I'll absolutely take that. I didn't get best lap though. By 0.004 of a second. Very nice. Man, second split and I've won. This has been a good week already. In fact, this is it. This is as much as I'm gonna do, I think. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Big gaps. It's one of the best races I've done, I think. Since I started this season on a track where I didn't really know what I was doing because it's a new track. Highest iRating I've ever been.